According to the National Equity Project, as students in such communities enter school, their survival mechanisms can kick in quickly. Constant messages that they are inferior, not capable, or not worthy have a cumulative effect on students. For many students in these communities, job and life prospects are less hopeful, and success in school may not seem relevant. Schools can often perpetuate these inequities, causing some students to get triggered by certain actions or situations. This, in turn, puts them in a constant state of threat or stress. No matter the traumatic experience, our brains are wired to recognize threats. Research has revealed that the brain responds to perceived social threats in the same manner as threats to survival, meaning if our students see a social situation as a threat, they will resort to one of their survival strategies of fight, flight, or freeze to react to the situation. I like to make the analogy of a lion ready to fight or defend, a rabbit prepared to flight or flee, or a deer ready to freeze to protect itself from being noticed. In schools, when our students who have experienced trauma feel threatened, these responses may show up in varying ways, such as when the lion is ready to fight, it could look like frequent disruptions, inappropriate language, verbal or physical conflicts. Or when the rabbit is ready to flight, it could present itself like chronic absenteeism, walking away from authority figures, and shutting down and avoiding interactions. Or a deer who is in freeze mode. It could look like spacing out, not doing work, or seeming uninterested. With each of these responses, the brain experiences a surge of the hormone cortisol and a decreased supply of oxygen to the brain. This affects the brain's ability to function, resulting in reduced cognitive reasoning. Therefore, if someone senses a social threat, they cannot reason clearly or take in new learning. Their emotional brain takes over their thinking brain and does what it needs to do to, quote, survive, even if they misunderstand the situation. In these moments, the rational thinking brain's ability to kick in has been stripped, and it's all about protection mode. This is why it's critical to shift our thinking away from these kids are knowingly misbehaving to how can we help our students get back into that rational thinking brain? What skill do they require? What supports can we provide them? Striking a balance between skill building and supporting is important, as weighing too heavily in one area without the other may prevent the student from healing and growing. As trauma-informed and socially conscious educators, we can become more aware of detecting if our students have experienced traumatic events. They may demonstrate indicators in our classroom, such as loss of appetite, frequent headaches or stomach aches, inability to remember or concentrate, being hyper-alert or easily startled. They may struggle to find joy and interest in school and activities. They may resort to blaming themselves and others, detaching from others, or have persistent conflicts with peers. They may seem irritable and have outbursts of anger or demonstrate aggressive or impulsive behaviors. All of this affects their ability to learn and grow both academically and socially emotionally. These students may struggle to develop language and communication skills, or have difficulty paying attention, following directions, or organizing and remembering new information. Furthermore, these students are at high risk of not developing those critical social-emotional skills to cope with stress, regulate their emotional responses, read social cues necessary to build relationships with others, and make responsible decisions. This then gets played out in our school environments. When we aren't aware of these vulnerabilities and lack of SEL skills, we may respond with a punitive approach to our students' unexpected behaviors. This then perpetuates the problems and further splinters our school culture and climate and our students' ability to grow past these traumatic situations. As leaders and educators, we can promote a healthier approach to teaching the critical SEL skills of emotional regulation and responsible decision making by using restorative practices that capture those teachable moments to help shape these skills in the natural environment. We can create safe spaces that incorporate a proactive, student-centered approach with opportunities to develop their social emotional muscles. We can work to build predictable and trusting relationships amongst one another in our schools and classrooms. In doing so, we help to empower all students to evolve and grow from a strength-based method.